Good morning, everybody. This is Coach Jim Kaspari with Business Profit Acceleration Group Coaching, and we are here to have unlimited profits and more free time to do what you love. Here's a slide showing some of the things I love. I love playing music, playing outdoors. What do you love? What would you do with more free time, more money? We're here, and what works is we're honest, we're vulnerable, we support each other, we have positive energy. Not all the time, because life doesn't work that way, but it's all about your guys' goals, your life, and why have a successful business if we don't have good quality of life? And this is also a safe environment to communicate, ask questions. We're all in this together. We've all had great successes in our lives, and we've had failures and tough times, and we're here to support each other. Today is August 18th. How many people feel like the first half of the year went fast? Raise your hand.
Okay.
I was gonna do a half a year plan for us, a model for that. And then I realized as of the end of this month, in 12 days, we will only have 120, a third of the year to go. So I think it's time to do a summative evaluation. And that's what the SuperStar business model is all about. The foundation is, it starts with a business plan, but then there's other foundational elements. You know, do you have a business entity? Do you have business insurance? Do you have proper funding for your business? Do you have an office? Do you have all the equipment you need? Do you have a mentor? Do you have a business bank account? Are you measuring your financials? We'll get into financials in a little bit, but is your business financial transactions separate from your personal? And I think we're all good here, but it just want to cover the foundational pieces. And the idea behind going around this model is for you to take some notes. Maybe we won't get everything completely dialed in by the end of 2022, but at the end of August, we're going to have 120 days. So that's 4 30-day periods. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around this model. I'm going to talk about all the elements of a superstar successful business, and we can take notes on what can we improve, what do we need to put in place, and you can even take notes on what can you stop doing or delegate while we go around this. So it's a big kind of brainstorming as I go through the model, and then we're going to, I don't know if you can see this, but basically take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, top to bottom, a line down the middle, left to right, and you'll have 4 quadrants. So there's September quadrant, October quadrant, November quadrant, and December quadrant. And then we're going to spread out these action items, maybe leave some time for a holiday vacation at the end of December. Or if you're taking a vacation in September, you know, put your personal things in those quadrants. Like I'm gonna be doing a youth leadership long weekend in September and rafting on Labor Day. So it's good to put those personal things. I'm going to a Willie Nelson concert with my mom in October. So put the personal things in there so that you can balance out where you need time for business stuff. If you're anything like me, you have this not unattainable, but list of important items, and it's overwhelming. So the idea here is get maybe 3 key things in each month, and we'll be blown away by the end of the year what we've accomplished. And what I found in this year is I had a strong commitment and energy and action at the beginning of the year. And I got caught up in just personal stuff and life and I lost some of my momentum. So Venice, it sounds like you're rocking and rolling. And I think even though you're efficient, effective, and rocking and rolling, it might be nice to spread this out so you can continue to serve your work and life balance by spreading things out. So any questions on the foundation? How do you guys feel you're doing there?
I think for me, foundationally is probably where I've grown the most. I don't know, just listening to what you were saying. And I always feel like I'm, like 6 months behind everybody because my focus is so scattered with my life situation. But what I actually did just have a vision of is that a lot of seeds have been planted. And where we've focused each time on certain aspects of, growing our business and so forth. And do you have this and do you have that? It's like, I felt like I was 3 steps behind, but I kind of feel like there's, I see a field of seeded flowers.
Okay, great. Yeah. And if you guys go through, or anybody who's watching this video on YouTube, look at some of the other videos. The core foundation of a business is your purpose, vision, mission, and core values. And there's videos in the Peak Business Coaching YouTube channel for all of those. The ideal target market is really important. Your specific goals and revenue model, critical performance indicators, copywriting, marketing strategies, marketing tactics. That's all there if you want to review and fortify or update your business plan or marketing plan. So let's go from there. I think it's important for all of us to have an updated comprehensive marketing plan as a minimum. And if we have existing businesses, it's still a good idea to take the time to do that. And that might be something that would be on the September list, not necessarily for you guys, but one of the first things to do. Now in finance, I'll just go clockwise in the model. These aren't in order of importance or in order of what to do first. They're all important. So finance, we have bookkeeping, accounting, tax strategy, cash flow management is super important. One of the number one killers of a business is low cash flow or negative cash flow or debt due to the negative cash flow. And that just becomes overwhelming. Seasonal fluctuations is a consideration, and profits and pricing. And again, there's videos on some of that. I think it would be really great to have a tax strategist come as a guest speaker soon. So any questions on the finance piece, or any areas where you see you could the other thing I would add is critical performance indicators. So what do you measure? And we've talked about this before, but at a minimum, on a monthly basis, you want your books up to date by the 15th or 20th of the following month. And then you want to actually look at and analyze the data, not in a highly technical analytical fashion, but why do the numbers and do the numbers in a timely manner if you're not going to look and see what's going up, what's going down, what's staying flat when you want it to go up. So you want to measure gross income, fixed costs, variable costs, and profit. And this can take some doing. It can take some organizing of your chart of accounts, working with your bookkeeper or accountant. I just met with a company in Sacramento, and we spent 4 hours working out what are the fixed costs, what are the variable costs, how do we calculate it, how do we use their existing systems and modify it slightly so that we can have the easiest accurate data getting into the system so we can kick out reports and have the numbers that we want. And what this allows you to do is see if cash flow goes down, why did it go down? Did variable costs go up? Is your pricing right? If you're doing more jobs and you're not making more profit, then your pricing is probably not right, or your expenses are too high. So the financial piece, and then on the other side of that, there's the tax strategy. So how can you keep more money? How can you reinvest in the business? How can you report things? How can you, have a 401k for yourself in your business? Like, there's all kinds of really cool tax strategies. Any questions, comments on that section?
Not for me.
I know.
Sorry.
No, that's great. Anything you would add?
No, I mean, I guess I'm kind of, I want to say I'm somewhat patting myself on the back because I'm trying to better it, sort of harping on my clients to do these things so that we're not stressing out at the beginning of next year because you didn't do any of these things in the last half of the year. And just listening to your conversations and so forth, these are things that I've just had conversation with 3 of my clients. And one of them is a brand new business. One of them is a business that thought they were going to sell their business, and it's multi-businesses. And well, long story short, for an intuitive read I did on them, I kept not touching base with them because everything in my intuitive side said everything's going to be the same. And yesterday I had an hour talk with the client, and sure enough, she goes, nope, we're not selling the business. We're not moving to Arizona. We're not doing this. In fact, this business is doing better than we thought it was. The other business is the one. So it was like, oh my gosh. So it was just good for a check-in. And
Great.
That part was good.
Fantastic. And I'll just add on the finance piece, what you don't measure can't improve, or it doesn't improve in a timely manner. So that's the whole reason behind that. Now, operations, some people might think that's manufacturing, or that's service providers. Operations, when you come from the heart and you creatively figure out how to do it better, like amazingly better than the competition, that's the crux of business success. So I don't like to look at operations as, Six Sigma, map out the process, efficiencies, and it does, yes, you absolutely want to map out your operations, and you want to look for efficiencies. You want to see where there's redundancies or things that don't need to be done, or how can things be done in parallel. That's all part of operations. Training is part of operations. Checklists, quality control, that's all part of operations. And when you're coming from the heart, asking the right questions, showing that you care, creatively delivering more for more value is all operations. So products, services, customer service, systems, manufacturing, distribution, automation, efficiency, and that can include our point of sale. So all our systems, future systems, there's oftentimes great systems for each industry. And take a look at your systems. Are you maximizing the full potential? I think about systems like Excel or Photoshop. Like, most people use maybe 10% of the functionality, and that's okay. But you want to look and see, are there low-hanging fruit opportunities? Take a little bit of that strategic leverage time that I talk about. How do you get things that move the needle? And so operations is a great place to keep an eye on and continuously improve. I like in my peak business coaching, PEAK stands for performance, efficiency, abundance, I thought action, and K stands for Kaizen. And Kaizen is the Japanese word for continuous improvement. Any
So, Jim, is that where you need to focus on that A word?
abundance?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For my
I think-
clients and for myself, why not?
And I think this operations section, as you're just sort of talking about it, this is probably in all the clients that I'm working with, and it's variable industries as well. This is where the most action, the most change, the most turbulence has happened is in this operations section.
I agree. And operations, and if I'm understanding you correctly, the cost of goods sold has increased drastically. The cost of gas has gone up, food, labor. So pricing actually goes in finance, but it also goes into operations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important. And then that leads to a whole different side conversation, is how do you do proper price increases? How do you get your value to price ratio the highest in the industry? And how do you communicate that to existing clients so that your attrition is as low as possible? And if you communicate correctly and compassionately, most people understand, and the attrition is very low.
Yes. And this, strategizing, just to put it in a simplistic form, if you have a restaurant and they've had such an extensive menu in the past, all of a sudden, what are the top 5 sellers? What are the, let's hone back in on,
Nice.
what are the top 5 sellers, the things that people really ask for the most, that they don't want to cook at home, they want to go out and be, have service, etc. So I think this is, well, in the people that I've been dealing with, and that's, that's even with the dialogues that Venice and I have had, what things could work, could bring more business into you, could, we're having the same types of dialogues in all of the people that I sort of walk with and do work with.
Yeah, and that clicked, adding our funnel to operations. So if, whether it's a restaurant with a menu offering 20 items, or we provide health or spiritual services, and we have 20 different things, and then we spend a bunch of money on another piece of equipment, we want to make sure that we're going to get the return on investment. And I love what you said, you were at least referring to, is, what has the highest demand, what makes the biggest difference for our clients, and what has the highest margin, so we can be successful and grow and help more people.
Well, and I think one other big piece to that too is, what is it that will keep the owner or owners still passionate about what they're doing, instead of just throwing up their hands and saying, this isn't worth it, I'm working too hard, I'm over, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's not work so hard.
Right.
What can we do to sort of squeeze that back a little bit, so that you don't lose your fire, because you are the igniter for the rest of the business.
Right. And how can things be done in a different way, so it takes less of the owner's time, or it costs less? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's fantastic. All right, let's go on to leadership. That's a lifelong pursuit. Relationships, communication, motivation. It starts with hiring. And a lot of people don't have some of the business basics. I see people that don't have job descriptions, don't have expectations that are clear. So how can you write an ad if you don't have a job description? And the ads I see are generic. They're not designed to really attract great people and repel mediocre people, and have a hurdle in there to test people and make sure they have attention to detail. So hiring, And then open-ended situational interview questions for all the things that are high or their musts or wants on your job description. So hiring alone is huge. And then how do you sort through the people? How do you market well enough to get a great number of choices? And that's a challenge these days. But if you've done right, it's definitely doable, and you can find great people. I will argue with anybody who says you can't find good people. You're just not necessarily doing the right things. Due diligence, quality control, training, motivation, setting goals with your employees, job descriptions, reviews. Then there's HR law. But I really think one of the keys to leadership, there's several keys to leadership that I love, and it helps me stay focused in the right areas. The first one is, how many people have ever gotten frustrated with an employee?
Oh, never.
I know Venice just never gets frustrated. That's awesome. But curiosity is the word that helps me when I'm frustrated or pissed off. What happened? Are they having a bad day? Did they get in a fight with their spouse? Are they overloaded? Is that my fault or their fault for not setting boundaries and upwardly managing me? Yes, I can do that, but here's what's on my plate. What can we take off? So curiosity helps me stay or switch to a whole different energy. And how the other thing about leadership is there's two business principles that set businesses up. The fastest growing, the most successful businesses have in common. One is great job, high quality products, amazing service, great communication. So that's number one. Number two is setting their employees up for success. Mm-hmm. So that's, in my mind, the crux to leadership. And knowing that every person is different. Yeah. And we use different leadership styles depending on different people, but also depending on the same person, we would use different leadership styles with different tasks. If they're really good at something and they love doing it, we don't have to do much other than just, say, yeah, fantastic job, and give some actual specific feedback on what kind of a good job did they do? What did they do to do a good job? But people that have never done it before, they're nervous, they're afraid, they're going to need more training, more motivation, more checks. And then when somebody's done it for a while and they've lost the fear, if we were hovering over them, it would drive them crazy. So same person, different tasks, will use different management styles. So that's a good thing to remember.
If I could throw something in here, something that I've experimented with, I guess is what I'm going to say, because so much of my work, which both of you know, yes, I do bookkeeping and accounting, but my passion is with health and wellness and energy healing and all that kind of stuff. So how do I evolve the two together? And I've kind of experimented with bringing in, I'm just going to say it's like the Chinese astrology. And in doing so, I have found, and even as an employer, you can kind of do this because you have a birth date. So you have the material to work with. So you've got an employee or somebody who's trying to sell you on, oh no, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. And everything that I've just read says that's probably not their best piece. They can do this better. And sometimes it's a discovery that they don't know or they are in denial about. It's just interesting because I have found, okay, let's just try bringing this into their job description or bringing this into what we'd like to ask of them. And because we already know energetically, astrologically, whatever you want to call it, that this is part of a piece of them that they can excel in. And it, ironically, it's working.
Okay, yeah, that's fantastic. That's a great tool. Communication style tools like DISC are really important. And I'm a big promoter of meeting with your employees regularly, getting to know them as a person as well as an employee. And, you know, for example, if they do a fantastic job, some people might be mortified by public acknowledgement, and some people would absolutely love public acknowledgement. So
Absolutely.
the only way to know is to ask. And then, like you said, there's other tools that can tell you a lot about, and be, if they're open to it, be an educational opportunity for them to flow and have more ease in their life by choosing the tasks that they're just naturally suited for.
Well, we're living in a time where so much change has happened and is continuing to happen that I think a lot of people have kind of not that they even knew to begin with what their purpose in life was, but they're really now trying to hone in on what feeds me, what makes me happy, what can I do that I haven't done before. They're lost in a lot of places. They're lost. And just having some sort of an affirmation or some sort of dialogue that says, gosh, have you ever thought about doing such and such, whatever, and that's goes back into the operations again. But
yeah, absolutely. I was just taking a moment as you were talking. That was fantastic. And just looking at what we've covered so far, we've covered operations, finance, and leadership, and seeing, what can I put on my quadrant list. So might be good to take a break real quick and do a little bit of
quadrants.
We'll get there. Yeah, as an example, my foundation, I feel like, is really solid. Finance, doing well there. Operations, I'd like to get somebody to help me with more of the web and SEO functions. And I have somebody helping on a larger scale with web and SEO, but just kind of like day-to-day smaller projects. And even some of my own marketing. And then I have somebody part-time for social media marketing, and she's doing an amazing job. So the next two areas, and leadership, like I said, I'm going to continue to read books and do my best to process emotionally and communicate effectively, and flex my style according to the situation and the person. So the whole business won't run without marketing and sales. In Donald Miller's model, there's an airplane, and we look at finance and operations, and our expenses are like the weight of the airplane. The wings and the engines, one engine is marketing and one engine is sales. So you need both of those to have the plane
in balance.
Continue to rise in the air. I like that analogy. So marketing, we want to know who our target market is, what our USP is, unique selling proposition, what's unique, special, different, and better. We always talk about that. Our messaging, our call to action, our irresistible offer. We spent a lot of time over the last 2 years going over this over and over again. And it's worth tweaking, changing, improving all the time. Budget, what's your marketing budget? Is it in industry standards, or a rule of thumb is 4 to 10% of gross income? And most people are not spending enough on marketing. What's your return on investment? It should be 500 to 1,000% in my mind. What strategies are you using? What tactics are they working? What are new ones you could try? What's not working that you could stop doing? How are you tracking your marketing? How's the quality of your leads? Are you attracting the right people? Are you repelling the wrong people? Are you saying no to the wrong people? That's really powerful. Really, really, we want to know clearly our ideal dream clients. And then when the universe sends us our PETA clients, we want to say no. And we want to have the wherewithal and the marketing and the amount of leads and the closing of sales to be able to do that comfortably from a financial position. And it doesn't mean being mean and saying no. It means, referring them to somebody else, or just saying, I don't have time, or I don't feel like this is a good fit. Anything I'm missing on marketing, or any comments?
I think the biggest problem with marketing is trying to figure out the right direction. And, we've gone over mine, and there's always so many possibilities, and trying to keep it narrow and focused and right.
Yeah. So I think deciding and going for it, and then tweaking and changing, is a huge shortcut. Another shortcut might be calling Sarasette offices across the country and find out what's working, what's not working for them.
Right.
So geographically separate, same industry surveys are really effective. And you can share with them and add value at the same time. And to take that to another level, sometimes it's good to get an industry mastermind team that's geographically across the country, 4 or 5, maybe 6 people max, that meets once a month, and you share industry specific challenges, solutions, advice. It's
That's a
really
good idea.
a powerful way. And as the organizer of a mastermind team, you get to pick people that are ahead of you, because they're alone, they're frustrated, they have their own challenges, and they're probably feeling like they could use some support. And I've done this in the past with some pretty incredible people that help pull me up, and I in turn help them by organizing the group. And then, everybody cool with marketing? I honestly think just getting over ourselves, picking 5 online, 5 offline marketing tactics, going for it, just putting ourselves out there, no longer being the invisible man or person. If we spend time thinking about what's the right tactic, that's worth a little bit of thought for sure. But if we're playing ping pong in our head, then just pick something and go. Pick some things and go. And I think this is a good point to remind ourselves to listen to that intuitive voice. If we get some tapping, we get a repeated quiet voice saying, like right now, my business sign needs to be redone, and I just need to do it. All right, sales. Well, we had Matt Saya come as a distinguished guest. That video is going to be in the YouTube channel for Peak Business Coaching. I will have that done by the end of the weekend and posted there. Also had Venice and Simone give some sales training in the past. So we have some great resources. For me personally, I've come a long way from fear and self-consciousness and negativity around sales to really enjoying it and just making it about helping people and no pressure and just throwing the opportunity out there and seeing where they might have objections that I can help them get out of their own way. So those are some of the keys. So any questions or comments on sales? And I've had conversations recently about pricing, the value to price ratio, and also about sales, tracking sales closing ratios. So if you talk to 10 leads and you close 7 people, that's fantastic. If you're closing 10, your pricing is probably too low. So we want some no's. It's okay. Now from that review, let's figure out some action items and put them into the next 120-day plan.